by many names: pioneer, frontiersman, mountain man. He was all of those and more: father, patriot, tamer of the land. At a time when aristocratic Europeans dined on caviar and champagne, the early American considered himself lucky if the evening meal included squirrel, or turkey, trout, or venison. So vital were these wild creatures to his very existence that his hunting skills were often the difference between a full table or an empty one. We are so few generations removed from that pioneer ancestor that his tradition of hunting and fishing has come down to us with pride and honor. We love and respect the great outdoors and thrill to the excitement of the hunt, as did the men and women who carved this country out of the wilderness. With time and the changing environment, we've learned wise conservation, and the modern outdoorsman applies this wisdom to ensure the protection of wildlife for generations to come.
Rocky driving through people. He's out into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Rocky Bleier going straight through the middle. Taking defenders with him right into the end zone. Carried Wayman Bryant in. Touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fans edging around here now. They'd like to see Willie spread some chicken on the hill. Ball two, no strikes. Here comes the pitch. Stargell swings. There goes a long drive high and deep to right field. It's going. You can kiss it goodbye. That little baby went up into the top deck. Fourth row of the seats. There's never been one hit that far before at Three River Stadium.
Bradshaw giving to Bleier, slanting over the right side. Bleier goes into the end zone, standing up. Bleier found the hole over the right side on a slant. Sam Davis had taken Al Beauchamp out of the play, and Bleier galloped into the end zone for the touchdown.
Coombs into the windup in the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, driven deep to right field. You can kiss it goodbye. Oh, baby, did he hit that baby out of sight. He cremated it.
Hand off. Carried by Rocky Bleier off the right side. Second effort down into the goal line. He's in there for a touchdown. Rocky Bleier going off the right side. Gave it a great second and third effort. Carried it into the end zone for a Steeler touchdown.
It's funny how memories stay with you. The excitement and high drama of games you'll never forget. Divisional playoffs and World Series moments that are as much a part of a stadium as seats, concrete, and upper deck. The stars and superstars that over the years have become bigger than life. We call them heroes, and I guess they are. We come here to relax. They come here to work. But when the season's over, for relaxation, they seek another field. Many of today's splendid athletes find in the great outdoors the kind of escape they need from the pressures of a hectic and demanding business. Yes, being a national hero can be very demanding. Like a generation of earlier Americans before them, they find their release in the streams and oceans, woods and fields of our land. I remember a great day I spent with one such man, going after one of the most prized trophies anywhere, the Virginia white-tailed deer. Some experts call him the most difficult of all big game to bring home. There are some other animals in the world as fast, or maybe even faster. Some others with better eyesight or endurance. But the whitetail puts it all together in a beautiful, unique package that defies description. He seems to have a built-in radar that allows him to give the hunter the slip. Incredibly cautious, he makes very few mistakes, and even when he does, his intelligence, blinding speed, and maneuverability often leave the hunter talking to himself and wondering what went wrong. On a day I want to share with you in search of one of these Pennsylvania trophies, I was with one of the finest outdoorsmen you'll ever meet. Remember the '60 World Series with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees? With the series tied at 3 apiece, the 7th game was played at Forbes Field. In the 8th, Bill Verdon hit a routine ground ball to Yankee shortstop Tony Kubek. Instead of a double play, the ball hit Kubek in the throat. A Dick Groat single made it 7-5 Yankees. But the late Roberto Clemente singled home another run, making it 7-6. Al Smith then homered for 3 big runs, and the Pirates led then 9-7. In the top of the 9th, the Yankees came back to tie it 9-9. But in the bottom of the 9th, Bill Mazaraski came up against Bill Perry and made baseball history. Bill's home run sent Pittsburgh into a frenzy that lasted for days. Maz is a little heavier now, but he's not lost those great reflexes, and of course he could never lose his lifelong love for hunting. On this day, Maz and I tested our desire and ability on one of those high deer-producing farms where you can see a buck almost any time, except when you have a gun in your hand or a hunting license on your back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't we split up? You go up along this edge of it, and I'll go up along that edge of it. Maybe we can pinch something in. And we get them in the middle of it. I'll tell you what. If I look real good, take a shot.
Okay.
I'll forget.
You haven't looked that good yet.
We walked separately and together. We tried to drive for each other, but with only 2 men, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. We spotted deer sign everywhere, tracks crossed by other tracks. I carried a guilt feeling that was getting heavier than the 30-30. Hours before, just after daylight, Maz and I had gone to opposite ends of a pine thicket with the intention of slipping along the sides and trying to push a buck toward the other. I almost succeeded, but when I got to the other end, instead of holding still, I walked over to where Bill was standing. And as I began to speak and gesture, a buck that had been walking directly toward him swapped ends and took off. My lack of concentration caused Bill a shock.
Out here for about 4 hours already, and we haven't seen but one. Thanks to you, we didn't get it.
You're going to keep reminding me of that.
The world's going to hear about it, I'll tell you that. Anytime I got a deer ready to go and the guy starts waving his hand and the deer runs, I got to feel bad.
I was only concerned about our success. I was trying to demonstrate to you how things were going to work. I didn't know the deer was coming.
Well, you had big plans of going down this way and back around this way, and then there's my deer standing there.
I'll get you another one.
Can I rely on that?
Well, I'll do my very best.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You see this, like, heavy woods in through here?
Mm-hmm.
If they come at all, they're not going to come through this open spot. They're going to come down through this heavy. They're going to stay in the cover. If we get on the other side of that, like in there, they got to break out sooner or later when they come from here to here. No?
Well, you go by the rule of thumb now. You can't always, we're not that predictable.
Deer doesn't read the same book?
No. What we read.
Oh, well.
I've seen a lot of them in the open fields, and that's where I've gotten...
Mostly in the summertime, though.
Well, that's when I hunt.
I knew you did stuff like that.
No, not really.
No, but you will in the summertime see them out in the open a lot. But they seem to know when that season approaches. They really seem to understand that the guns are going to start. And once the guns do start, then they're convinced. And that's why they go to the high country.
They got the good ears. Huh?
Too good. Well,
better than ours.
Let's give it a shot.
Well, let's work on it.
As the afternoon wore on, the wind came up. There were a few snow flurries in the air, and for the first time, I began to think about how much time we had left before the day was going to run out. That morning, I had dreamed about an 8-point for both of us. Now, I was willing to settle for anything legal. And with some surprise, I realized that I wanted my hunting partner to get it if there was to be only one. We had laughed about his spoiled shot in the first hour, but now it was no longer funny. Deer hunting can produce strange feelings, and now I was willing to make a deal with the hunting gods to trade any chance of a deer for myself for a guarantee of one for Maz. But in deer hunting, there are no deals and no guarantees. We joined up again and decided to find a good spot to make our last stand. We figured to post on either side of a clearing and just wait it out till dark, knowing the deer would be moving. Suddenly, at a distance, the sight we had been waiting for.
I think there's a buck coming in from the west. He's getting up! He's getting up! Oh, man, look! Oh, it's beautiful! Oh, look at that! What a shot! Oh, nice! Beautiful!
The minutes of excitement and congratulations went by, the light began to fail, and we realized how close we had come to being shut out. As the sun slipped behind the hills, we dragged the fine 6-point to a spot to gut him out and begin the job of getting him home. There are few ways of getting to know a man better than by hunting together. Bill Mazaraski had already proved himself a superstar and a baseball legend, and the sport will wait a long time to see a better man at second base. But now I'd learned a bit more about him. His greatness is larger than his baseball fame. His friendliness is as big as all outdoors. When the Bucks won the series in '60 on Mazaraski's home run, it was with a bunch of characters who had already started to build a national image of a very special Pirate team. They had crazy nicknames. They were loose and able to laugh at themselves and the rest of the world. It was the beginning of what would later become known far and wide as the Family. Over the many years that baseball's been played in this country, the game has produced a lot of famous names, but only a few at the very top whose fame covered more than just playing, hitting, or pitching. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, men with whom the nation has had a special love affair. Willie Stargell is such a man. More than just one of the great home run hitters of all time, more than just most valuable player or most valuable player in a World Series or sportsman of the year, and he's been all of those things. Willie Stargell has won the respect of fans and players alike because of his quiet dignity, his remarkable leadership, and his desire to serve his fellow man off the field as well as on. Willie had never been deep-sea fishing in his life, but he jumped at the chance when I suggested going after a sailfish. During the off-season, we flew to Isla Morada in the Florida Keys to join Captain Hugh Brown on the sports fisherman Reef Corsair. Sometimes you can troll for billfish for a week without landing one, and we only had 2 days. Winter weather still held the north in an icy grip, but here the sun was warm and the blue sky stretched as far as we could see. Trolling for big game fish is a lot like big game hunting. Hours of watching and waiting, hoping for that moment that makes your heart jump. So far, our first day was all waiting. Finally got some action when a king mackerel hit the bait that was being trolled behind my line. When any strike comes, the boat is immediately slowed to give the fisherman a chance to play the fish in. I knew from the resistance he was putting up he wasn't all that big, but one advantage of a mackerel is the fact that he makes very good eating.
Right up the hole there.
So we brought him in and over the side. A northern pike that size would have been really respectable, but this fish just whetted our appetite for something bigger and better.
That's a fish anyway. Yeah.
More hours of trolling failed to produce any action. It was beautiful, but peaceful. Too peaceful. So Captain Brown decided to deliver Willie some guaranteed action before our time ran out. We anchored over an old wreck lying very deep on the bottom. The captain planned on using heavy lead weights to make sure the bait and line would drop straight and true. Hopefully, Willie's bait would be snapped up by a big amberjack. Now, the jack is not pretty. He doesn't even taste very good. He doesn't run or leap, wearing himself out. He just hangs in there and dares you to reel him in. A 20-pound fish, plus the lead weights, and soon it becomes a tug of war.
What kind is it? Left back and then reel down. Now reel down. Jumper! Out of here. Keep the left along the reel.
Willie leaning one way, the amberjack leaning the other.
Do that again. Come up, don't try to reel when you're coming up. Come up, that's it. And then gain the line. Does he feel heavy? Yow! Come on, Egg! What is it? Boy, is he a beauty.
Finally, the mate got a hold of the wire leader and hauled the jack over the side. It wasn't a trophy to hang on the wall, but we had scored.
Jack?
So we came back that first night without the sailfish we'd gone after. But unlike many pursuits where missing the main goal can be defeat, fishing has a special reward even on less than perfect days. We did have the king mackerel, which was going to supply dinner. Willie's a wine connoisseur, and he had the evening meal all planned. And we had that amberjack for someone to put through the long, necessary smoking process. And we had the fun of dreaming about tomorrow.
My sardine.
We got this is sardine.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Okay, that's probably the best eater of all.
How much does this thing weigh? You?
Yes.
How much does that thing weigh? That large
I have to tell. Roughly, about 20 pounds. 20.
On a day like this, you can peel off all those layers of tension and all the troubles. Just get out on the ocean like this. And
Yeah, the amazing thing about here, there's no telephones ringing constantly. There's not the heavy traffic that you're bothered with throughout the day. And masses and masses of people going so hurriedly on their way someplace. But here, everything is so low-keyed, and I'm such a low-key person, too, that I enjoy this. Yeah, I enjoy this type
you
of
really dig it. I do, too. I never fished with you before, but I've been out a few times, this kind of fishing, and I just love it.
Well, I've been fishing before, but I've never been successful. You know, this is the first time catching a fish. It's been something exciting for me, and it's just a thrill, really.
It sure is. Maybe we'll have even better luck today.
Well, let's hope so. I think that what lies out there is 5 or 6 sailfish saying
With your name on it?
they'd like to see some parts of Pennsylvania.
About a 10-foot long one?
Well, I'll even go for a 4-footer.
As long as it has your name on it.
Right, because I normally fish with the green hook.
The green hook.
Yes, that's when I'm in Pittsburgh. I go to Robert Bowley's and tell him I want 2 pounds of that fish and 2 pounds of that fish.
And the green hook's in your
And I
wallet.
pull out the green hook and I'm paying for it.
That way you know you're going to
Right,
get something.
that's results. Out here, there's a hope and a prayer and impatience and patience.
Oh, it does require that.
Yes.
You just go, because you never know when he's going to hit.
No,
You
and
can
when
be-
you do hit, you get excited. And
Yeah.
you forget everything people have told you and just how to prepare
Yeah.
to launch him. And
Do I do this first or that first?
right,
Yeah, I
and
know.
then there's a chance of getting the rod all tangled up.
Yeah.
The string tag tangled up in the reel.
Forgetting to set the hook or one thing or
They
another.
say you wind going down.
Down.
Well, I'll be winding coming
Yeah.
up and let it go going down. So I get all excited because, like I said, I've never caught fish before, and that's probably one of the reasons why.
That may be why you. That may be why.
I need a good excited. I mean, a lesson when to get excited.
Hmm.
They should have those type of lessons for me, so I'll be able to
Right.
do the things that's right once it happens.
I don't think it's going to be any rain. I think it's going to be sunshine all day.
From the looks of things, it looks pleasant, but you know this weather creeps up so quick
Well,
on you.
What do you say we give it a
fishing?
shot?
Let's go catch 4 or 5.
1 or 2.
1.
You're on. Again, the warm tropical breezes and deep blue of the sky and water as we headed out to where we hoped the billfish were cruising. A few years before, I'd caught a really big barracuda in these waters while on the same boat. And I got to thinking about how nice it would be to hit another. Now, stories of barracuda attacks on humans in the water are greatly exaggerated, but there is no doubt that he is a dangerous creature out of the water. With that long jaw and sharp mouthful of teeth, when hooked, he runs like a greyhound. As it turned out, when the strike did come, it was one of the few times Captain Brown was fooled. He was sure it was a tuna. I was equally sure it was a barracuda. No matter how long the trolling goes on, like hunting on land, you can't relax. For that moment when the chance comes, you've got to be ready.
I am, baby. Got the wire? I was right at the Cuda. Wow. Yay! Look at the chops on that bad. Oh, he's got some kind of teeth. That's about the size of the one I got 5 years ago. That's about the size of the one I got 5. That's a nice barracuda. Your tuna turned into a barracuda.
Now we headed out into even deeper water, miles further from shore than the day before. That meant our actual fishing time would be limited because we had to allow more time to get back while there was still plenty of light. Captain Brown used a kite to take the line up from the outrigger. When the fish hits, that line, held lightly by something that looks like a clothespin, drops to the water. That way, the fish has a moment where he feels no drag or resistance. It gives the fisherman a second to react, feel the fish running with the bait, and then strike back, setting the hook. Now, everything was in place, and I could feel the tension.
Let's boat on around. Get back behind a little bit. To the silver. Get the boat to the left.
Other lines were quickly brought in to avoid any possible tangle.
Straighten up, watch the fish now. Cut that radio off. Just easy. You're fighting nothing now. See, you're not making it. Well, let the boat swing back. Put it right on up in the sun over here. Whoops, stop reeling when you come up real more. Drop the rod reel as you go. Now stop reeling and lift. Just lift easy. Don't jerk. Remember? Now reel down easy. You get tight. That's where you got to make the line. Back and forth into a little more. Come on. Come on back with it. There he is. It's critical when you get him in close. He gets slack line. Show the engine in gear. Sorry now, back. Keep that line tight. Don't let it get any slack. Whoa. Put the boat on ahead a little. He'll come out again. We can see him now. See him right there, Will? I don't want to look at him. All right. Look at that, Will. Broke his bill on the back of the boat, and I ain't fixed that. Look at that. What took you so long? They got straight. They won't be shooting. I don't know if I can get them. Go ahead, brother. Get him and get Will in there, too. Look at that thing. Pet your face there, man. Reach over there and pat him. Woo! You did it, baby.
Oh, my goodness.
You got that sail. See that gas handle back there? All right, we got... Hello, you rooted poodle. You turkey neck. Where's that now? Woo!
This arm is no good at all. At all. I don't know right now.
Look at that eye on him. Well, he's got a look on him. Woo!
Oh, man.
Man, that's a sailfish.
It is.
So now it was time to celebrate. The young mate, Eric, ran the sailfish flag up so that when we docked, everyone would know we had scored. Willie had a legitimate trophy for the wall and an experience to look back on that he would never forget. There might be more and bigger sales to come, maybe even marlin in the years ahead, but that first big game fish will always remain a special memory. On the way back, I thought about a simple but important fact about fishing or hunting. It's a great leveler. It teaches humility, because a person's fame doesn't have any effect on the eventual outcome. The great outdoors doesn't play favorites. And I thought about Willie Stargell. In those 2 days together, I learned why he enjoys his high reputation. The respect he gets from other people is a direct return from the respect he gives to everyone else. It's the way we all felt. Tremendous. One of the most rewarding aspects of hunting and fishing is the incredible variety available. From deep blue ocean to mountain stream, from deep winter woods to a farmer's field. The bobwhite quail is one of this country's truly great game birds. At one time, he ranged over most of the land. Unfortunately, that range has been shrinking. In the South, he is still king of the game birds. When they say bird hunting, they mean quail. Working with a good bird dog makes going after bobwhite all the more rewarding. This is one of the so-called continental or versatile breeds that have been becoming more popular in this country, the Hungarian pointer, or Vizsla. Notice we almost get a point here, but the shifting wind and the fact that the bird is moving makes the dog hesitate before locking up in a tight point. Somehow he knows the scent isn't quite right, and he's not prepared to commit himself. Like the German Shorthair or Brittany, the Vizsla works closer to the hunter than an English pointer or setter. They're bred to hunt hard, point, retrieve, or retrieve from water. Rather than sweeping back and forth as he would normally do, Brock is so certain the bird is nearby, he waits for his nose to tell him what to do next. Then, by watching his body English, I can tell he's starting to home in. You're about to see the moment a bird dog man waits for, a beautiful, intense point. Nationally known football coach Johnny Majors has been hunting quail since he was a boy in the South. We came to Gaybird Lodge, the home away from home for attorney and sportsman Gay Baines. Baines was the first man in this country to import the wire-haired Vizsla, a thicker coated breed to better penetrate heavy brambles and thorns. Johnny was an All-American at the University of Tennessee. He coached there and later came north to lead the University of Pittsburgh to its first national championship in many years. Johnny, along with Little John, who came with us with his BB gun to start his learning process in the field, joined Gay and myself as we started out to see if we could kick a few quail into action.
That was awesome, all right. Watch it. There you go. Through.
Bring her in here. Put it in.
I saw that.
By the way, that was not a public road we were shooting over, but a private lane that runs through Gay Bain's property.
Good girl.
After that first flurry, Gay with his two dogs, Shouty and Jenny, Johnny and his son, and Brock and I settled down for some hard walking. The autumn chill and brown cast of the field might mark the end of summer fun for a lot of people, but for the bird hunter, it's the beginning of a whole new season of fun. There's been a lot of talk about hunting, and I suppose for those who don't understand it, there's no way of ever explaining it satisfactorily. But to the hunter, there's so much more to it than just shooting. Being outside, smelling and breathing fresh air, the look and feel of a well-balanced side-by-side double, the companionship, and for many of us, the thrill of watching a fine dog at work.
I think what you ought to do is take a swing up through the field.
Okay. Don't worry, the dogs will find the birds. They're fluffy.
For me, the Vizsla is a perfect compromise. A family dog that is as happy in front of the fire as he is in the field. Don't believe that stuff about a hunting dog losing his ability if he's allowed to stay in the house. He may be more bother that way, but it doesn't affect his nose. As for desire, I can only say a dog that receives love and respect from the family seems to work all the more to please. Discipline is one thing, and necessary. But a pat on the head and recognition of a job well done goes a long way to making a perfect working relationship between a hunter and his dog.
Jenny, here. Johnny, come on, here.
Well, they're going to go now no matter what we do. There it goes. Get it. Good shot. Good shot.
Good doggy, good dog.
Good boy.
Oh, she's looking for it.
Good girl. Somebody see something?
Yeah. I saw a bird come down here.
Watch it. Point. There's a point. Yeah. There it goes. Thank you.
Come on, Scotty.
Did you get this one down? Come on, bring it in, girl.
Here, Scotty, come on.
Hey, that was a nice
Come on,
shot.
Scotty, here. Drop. Here, Jenny, come on. Jenny.
There we go. Here's the point.
Jenny, here.
Watch
Jenny,
it.
come on.
Watch it.
Jenny, here. Jenny.
There it is.
All of a sudden, the orderly process of search, point, flush, and shoot broke down. There were dogs and birds going every which
Jenny,
way.
Find a bird.
I was right on
Jenny,
that
there's
bird.
another bird in here somewhere. Find the other bird.
I counted it out. We'll go pick him up. He pulled it out of the hole. I lost him.
Well, Jenny tells me that bird does.
There it goes. That's
Came
the
in
other
from
two.
the other side. That's the one that I was calling.
Yep.
You tell me a hard shot, because the one that takes off comes up back towards you.
No way. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. We kept firing at that thing. It was coming down there like a 8-point buck. That bird came right down past you.
Yeah, I know what
I hollered, here he comes.
I had to wait to cut over above his head.
He was flying kind of low. Everybody taking a shot, and I was behind it, I think.
And it sounded like the 4th of July.
Didn't it, though?
Yeah. Good girl. Okay. All right.
A couple we flushed one in the
Hooray, I think we
Evergreens.
got a good one that time.
You know, the couple we flushed were in the Evergreens over here. Yeah, big part of them are roosters, too.
That's not too bad.
Come on, guys.
I don't think I ever
Come on,
did
Brock.
that,
Come on, Brock. Here, Brock. Let's go.
That's a tough ride.
Protecting her birds again.
Is that about the same size as the ones you get down south?
Oh, yes, very similar. Same native quail,
Yeah.
Bob White. And my dad's a great bird shot. I've seen him go out on bird hunting days and come in with all roosters. And the people accuse him of picking roosters out in midair. But I don't think
You can't do that. Can you really?
No.
You can't tell the difference when they go up, can you?
No, you really can't.
How many birds would you see on average, like down there? There are a lot more.
Oh, it's about like this. Oh, no, we
Yeah?
saw about the same amount. And about the same type take, or I should say, bag day. We have a pretty good hunt there. Sometimes it's 10 to 15 birds a day.
And we did all right?
Yes, very good.
Dogs did
Get some
nice.
nice
Boy,
dogs.
those beastless worked nice.
And believe it or not, we never did talk football. Just birds and dogs and excuses for the ones we missed. In the 1971 World Series, a young pitcher by the name of Bruce Kison shocked the power hitters of the Baltimore Orioles. A nationwide TV audience watched him repeatedly strike out the heart of the Oriole batting order. After moving out of Pittsburgh and the National League, Bruce, or Buster as he's known to his friends, found a home and a lucrative contract with the California Angels. As with many professional athletes, the years of developing big-time reflexes pay off in a lot of ways. Bruce swings a shotgun smoothly and, as you might expect, accurately. This day found us in excellent pheasant country. Now, compared to a bobwhite quail, the Chinese ringneck is not only a bird of a different color, but a bird of totally different habits. In hard-hunted areas, the pheasant would rather run than fly. But once kicked up, you've got to get on him fast. Because of his size, he appears to be fairly slow, but the wizard of the weed patch can put a lot of space between you and his tail in a hurry. And it takes a solid shot, not one or two BBs to get him down. We were hunting this day very late in the season on a farm they told us still held several roosters.
All right, do that, Chisholm. Okay, you just stay right here.
The bird's going to come out up this direction.
In contrast to the Hungarian pointer, watch the popular Brittany at work. Shorter of leg, he can't gallop like the larger pointers and setters, but he's diligent and thorough, and like most continental breeds, a loving companion.
Okay, Bruce, move up, get that one.
Catch up, boy. Back, boy. Hear him. Back. Come on. There, come on. Off, boy. Catch up, boy. Back, boy. Hear him. Back.
After flushing that first rooster, we were convinced we had not been misled. There were pheasants still around, despite the lateness of the year.
Those are nice, weighty birds.
I've hunted several times over the years with Bruce Kison, and I'll never forget one moment when, unfortunately, I had no camera. The dog got a cockbird moving, but it wouldn't flush. It kept running, and Bruce, with his long legs pumping, in hot pursuit. Through some very high weeds they came, and when the bird ran out of cover, he came flying toward me. Bruce lowered his gun and allowed me to take the shot. It tells you a lot about a man, and the old cliche is true. The bigger they are, the nicer they are.
That was nice.
Real nice.
You see those two go out behind when I was bent down?
They were out there in a hurry. We didn't have much of a chance to shoot there, and you snuck that one shot in, and he didn't have a chance.
You wouldn't say I was lucky, would you?
Well, I don't know. It's always, sometimes I always said I'd rather be lucky than good, so.
Of all the various game birds that have been imported into this country as experiments over the years, none has been so spectacularly successful as the ringneck from the Orient. The hunting this day was as active as I've ever seen, but it wouldn't be honest to say we never missed. Watch this bird going out.
You believe that?
Only one feather left behind.
That bird wasn't moving fast enough to miss. Here, Rip. Oh, that dog worked nice. Bring it in. Bring him in. Good boy. Good boy. Is there anything left of him, Bruce? Bird in there somewhere. Birds are getting a little heavy. There's your point. There's your point. Watch it. Nice shot. That's hard to do with a bird that's still half alive for a dog.
Come on, boy.
For a little dog, that Brittany was one of the hardest working retrievers I've ever seen. The bird seemed almost as big as he was, but he never failed to bring one in, even when the rooster was still kicking. It was late in the afternoon when we limited out and called it a day, a kind of wet and chilly day, not the perfect fall blue sky sunshine day one always hopes for in small game season, but we could hardly complain. We had had fantastic shooting and the privilege of hunting over a well-trained Brittany that is perfect for covering a one-farm area. My waterproof boots were soaked clear through, but Bruce and I were as happy as a couple of kids.
Where's that first bird you killed? You got that. You got it. Another bird all across the way down across the
When the last hour of the last piece of shotgun, rifle, bow and arrow, or muzzle loading season has finally slipped away, the hunter sits by the fire, watches the snow pile up, and dreams of spring. And then suddenly it's time to buy salmon eggs, worms, spinners, that is perfect for covering a one-farm area. My waterproof shotgun, rifle, bow and arrow, or muzzle loading season has finally slipped away. The hunter sits by the fire, watches the snow pile up, and dreams of spring. And then suddenly it's time to buy salmon eggs, worms, spinners, and split shot. It's trout season.
He's going back up. What, gee? He's behind you. He's under your leg. Wait a minute. Give him a chance. I don't want to horse him. Oh, Jesus, Rock.
Oh, he's nice.
Oh, look at him. Look at the size of him. Oh, Jesus, look at the size of him. Oh, man. That's the biggest trout I ever caught. Let me get a hold of him.
Oh, nice.
That's got to be 14 inches.
If you wrote a book about Rocky Bleier or made a movie about his life, and both have been done, there's only one reason people would believe it. It happens to be true. A scriptwriter would never dare invent it. A college hero running back at Notre Dame, drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, only to have a promising professional career interrupted by Vietnam. The Rock was seriously wounded. Doctors told him flatly he'd never play football again. Fierce determination drove him to extended surgery to allow more flexibility in his damaged foot. Years of bodybuilding, hard work, and refusing to quit put him in the backfield of one of the greatest football teams of all time. And somehow he combines football, a financial business career, and dedication to several charities. This magnificent Steeler called the book about his life Fighting Back. It could have been called Fighting Back and Winning. One fine spring day, I asked him if he ever really believed he had a pro career left after the shattering experience of Vietnam.
I don't think that I ever thought much as far as the future was concerned. I mean, even in college, at least I felt that the opportunity was there. And then, and it's what you do with the opportunity when it comes that, you know, develops. But anything could have happened, and not necessarily Vietnam, but I mean, you could have got up one morning and fell down the stairs and broke your leg, you know, or get hit by a car or whatever it is. I mean, those things are always there, or get hurt on the field. Right. And never come back and play.
And a lot of guys do.
That's right. And so, even coming into the Steelers, I mean, my first thought coming into the Steelers as a rookie was much like, boy, here's an opportunity to try to make the team. Mm-hmm. And whether I did or I didn't, the biggest question was to give it your best shot, to have a kind of a confidence that you could make it, and not to have a defeatist attitude going and say, boy, I can't do it here.
Yeah.
You know. But if that time came and said, well, if I can remember when I came, I packed all my clothes, everything I owned when I came to Pittsburgh, with the idea that if I got cut, I would go down to Florida and spend a couple weeks and play some golf and make a swing down, see some people, come back to Wisconsin.
And it wasn't going to kill you?
It wasn't going to kill me, at least, you know, but I was going to, while I was here, I was going to, you know, give it my best shot. And when I came back from the service, of course, when I came back from the service, I had a taste of it. And I really wanted to come back and play. But I think the biggest thing was that I to myself,
no matter what happens, all I want to do is
be able to erase all the ifs in my life that have preceded me, you know, coming back. If I would have worked out harder, if I would have ran this, if I would have had this, and that if I went into camp and for whatever reasons it didn't happen, at least I wasn't going to blame it on the incident, and I didn't have to blame it on that I didn't try, and hey, it didn't work out. And at least it might have hurt. And it might have hurt damn well. I'm sure it would. But at least you wouldn't be sitting in the bar 20 years from now saying, boy, I could have played, but, you know, I could have done it. And you hear that a lot of times. And that was very important.
And very important to a lot of other people, too, as it turned out. Born and raised in Wisconsin, Rocky was accustomed to trolling on lakes from a boat. He had never worn waders and walked a trout stream. He loved the idea of giving it a try, but finding a free day in the schedule he maintains was almost impossible. We set and postponed a date several times, but like so many fishermen, he finally just said to heck with everything else and went. Like the old-timers used to say, you can't fix the roof when it's raining, and when the sun's shining, you don't need to. It's that kind of warped mentality that makes fishermen a little crazier and a little happier than everyone else.
Jump off this rock. Yeah. That water was deep enough, maybe they can jump into it. I suppose even now, I bet you that water is... Right down over there. Yeah. One spot right there. That's the deepest place. That rock right there. Oh, the water right there. Yeah, that's right. Very, very deep. See? Know the sound. Oh, God, do I know the sound. So fast recovery. If you take a friend to a special place you know about to go fishing, the worry is that this is the day they won't be hitting. It's the old you should have been here yesterday syndrome. I'll tell you what, as long as he's positioned where he is, why don't I put you up in there and I'll get below you. Okay. Bruce, try in that area. That's a good spot right where the past that rock. And there's like a little eddy in there. Right. And they like to get in a spot where they don't have to hold against the current. A trout's entire life is governed by two things: food supply and the ability to put himself in a position where he can get that food supply without having to knock himself out. We'd brought along mealworms, redworms, and waxworms. One or more of those had worked in the past. Of course, when they're not interested, there isn't a worm in the world that'll do the trick. The other maddening factor about stream fishing is trying to decide how long to stay in any one place. Just about the time you figure to move, you get a little hit. Is that a trout lightly tapping but not taking? Or is it an overgrown creek chub with a big appetite?
That little chub. What did you get? One here. Come here. Please.
Hang on to that. That may be the whole thing right there.
Creek chubs make good musky bait. Other than that, I've yet to understand why they were put here.
What? Well, that wasn't, I mean, I didn't know I had them until I started reeling it in. Come here. Well, Adam, I got two. Yeah. Come here, you look.
Right. Thank God we're not going to rely on something.
I'll put you back in. Just a minute, and then we get to hook you good, too.
Show me a chub that has taken the bait, and I'll show you a fish that has swallowed the hook 9 times out of 10. So it was Chub City and not one trout in the creel, although at least it provided some relief from worrying whether we were going to catch anything at all.
I wanted to use the net, too, on that. I thought you'd laugh at me.
I told Rocky about a day I'd gone fishing with a friend of mine on the spur of the moment, borrowing his rod and having no creel.
Last week with a friend of mine not here at another creek. I didn't have my equipment. He gave me all his stuff.
Well,
I had no net. Yeah, I had a net, but I had no creel, nothing to put the fish in. I caught one. I put it in the net just to hold it and twisted the net around.
Right.
Well, then when I caught the second, which was real big, I was afraid to use the net for fear the first one would come out. So I was trying to keep one fish in the net and catch the second one with it, and I finally did, but he had swallowed the hook. Unfortunately, it was the only hook I had. So I had to clip the hook out with my knife, holding on to the other fish that was still in the net while balancing on one rock. You know how it goes. Must have been quite a sight. Okay, baby. I know you're in there. I know. So, for the first part of the day, it really looked like we were going to get skunked. Hour after hour went by. I told Rocky there was some good-sized trout in this stream, but it was starting to sound like a fish story.
Then, as it so often happens, the fish gods throw a switch and the rainbows suddenly started to hit those drifting worms like they were starving.
Right here. Come on. Go nice.
Oh, Jesus!
That rainbow in here?
Yeah.
Come on,
Oh, don't let the line get through. Oh, Jesus!
Come on.
Shake him closer! Watch him, watch him!
I got him.
Take off! All right!
All right.
Oh, Jesus, he's a beauty! Did you see that son of a gun fight? Oh, look at the color on him. Beautiful. Oh, my God, he's beautiful. Look at that.
Look at that.
What do you figure is? He's got to be a foot long. Oh, here, for you. Did you see him fighting? Oh, man. Hold my rod and I'll put him in the reel. Well, that's two. We're on the way. We found the hole.
Hey, we get your dinner or my dinner.
That's right.
Right.
So the spell had been broken. I could tell Rock was really happy. After a nice fight, the 10-incher slipped into the creel, and we felt a lot better about things.
All right! Isn't that... Oh, man! Hey, he's nice size, too.
No.
Good. Hey, oh, I thought he was still on it. He might have been. He might have been. Did he swallow it, too? I got so excited watching that fish you caught, I wasn't paying attention. I had a hit. That's that same one that you've been hitting.
With all the public attention that a national football hero receives, it might be all too easy for a man to be affected by it. After all, if everyone else places you in a special category long enough, you might start to believe it.
You know, fortunate enough to be in a position to be in the public eye because of what you do and what, you know. But I think what counts is what's inside you and how you perceive it and how you come across the public. That you never become a big star, or probably more importantly, that you never forget people, and you never forget friends, fans, or whoever, but people who put you in that position. Much in the respect that I've always felt, as far as the Steelers are concerned, is that the Steelers have elevated my position. You know, I'm a mediocre running back, and they've taken a mediocre running back and elevated their position by a team effort in what they have accomplished to a level up here where the team has achieved, and you ride with it. You know, you're a part of it. But I'm not an O.J. Simpson or a Gale Sayers or any of the great running backs. You know, I happen to be in a position where I fit in. You do your job. You fit in as a team. And it's 11 men on offense, 11 men on defense, and that combined effort, you know, rises you to a position. But so I'm fortunate with it.
But you know there are people who would not, if they were you, would not view it that way. And you may not be able to know, because you are inside yourself, you may not be able to know to what degree the market, the city, the area, to what degree of respect they hold you. But it's very high, and it's very special. And that's the truth. It's not just, oh, wow, Steeler football star, all right. It's more than that. They really do think of you as a very special kind of giving person who has given back to the community every bit of what the community gave to you.
Yeah, I've always felt that I think that's a responsibility of athletes, and I've always felt it was a responsibility, especially here, of our athletes, is that you know, you take so much from a city, take the money, but that there is a responsibility to give back, you know, to become part of a community, to give back what you can to the community.
And the man does give back to cultural, charitable, and civic organizations, often with little or no publicity. We continued to have good luck as the day went on. It seemed as though if we drifted a worm through certain spots often enough, we'd get a hit. There are so many times that an entire day produces either total frustration or only one small fish. It seemed only fair to get a day like this to make up for it. Since Rocky and I were able to find only one day for this outdoor fun, I was thrilled it turned out to be so great.
Come on. But if he gives you a good joke, give him one back when he gives you a good one. Just enough to set the hook. Mine sitting, Rock, mine sitting. On. Oh, nice size. Whew. That, dang, don't lose that. Look at him, look at him, look at him. Been my equipment. See if they can just hang in there with that strength. Look at the color. Oh, they're beautiful. That is, now that's exciting. Isn't it? It was. Isn't something that just happens? Not bad. Not bad, my foot! He's great! I'd still like to hook that one that went for that rock about an hour ago. That son of a gun was huge. Sometimes it's the temperature of the water. And I'm not kidding, it really can be. This guy owns a place across the creek there. He's a real fly fisherman. He'll come down in the morning, put his temperature in the creek, and if it isn't a certain temperature, he doesn't fish. I'd like to get over there a little further so I can float down past that rock. I can't quite reach it. It just keeps coming back out to the center. See if you can bounce it almost like in front of that big rock. Oh, you're in the right spot, all right. Hey! All right. He's just hanging there. He is. He's just hanging there. What do you want to do? Just let him take his time. Keep the line taut. Don't ever give him a chance to get slack. He'll jump him. Oh, Rock, it's a beautiful trout. I never had a day like this, not in my life up here.
So often when we read about the private lives of famous people, we discover a surprising unhappiness that doesn't seem to make sense. Fame, money, influence, they're not always a guarantee of total pleasure. But this man seems to be genuinely at peace with the world and happy. I had to find out.
People, people view you from the outside. They have to say, well, no, there's a lucky guy. He's got to be happy. Fortunate enough to play on a team that's brought him 4 Super Bowls. I got a lovely wife and 2 beautiful children. I got a position in the community. I got a business in the off season. I'm involved in this and this and that. And it is, and I feel very fortunate to be able to be in that position. But my life, and the question that the response is, well, what's happiness? I think the thing is that what you do personally that makes you happy, what you can give to your family, what you give to yourself. And I think it's self-satisfaction in what you have accomplished, no matter what it might be, no matter what road that you might take, and what you do in life, as long as you're giving it your utmost, and you can look at yourself in the mirror every day and you say, hey, I'm doing the best I can, and damn it, I am happy. I'm happy for where I am at this point. I think that's the important thing. It's not all the fringes that go on.
The solid stuff, in other words, not the superficial.
Or trying to keep up with the Joneses or the that's not happy. I really am happy. I'm happy just with myself.
Rocky, he's huge. Oh, don't force him. He's huge isn't the word. I'm not kidding, Rocky. He is. That's the biggest one yet, Rocky.
Oh, gee. Oh, he's pulling that something, too.
He was taking a drag out.
Yeah, he was taking a drag out.
That's the biggest one, huh? Yeah. He's just holding out there. Honest to God, Rocky, he's got a life of his.
Lose him in that shit.
Oh, Rocky, look at the size of him. He looks like a salmon. Oh, Jesus, look at the size of him. Oh, man. Look at him.
All right. Oh, he's off. Damn it.
Incredibly, the line had parted right at the hook. We were both in near shot. What do you say? What can you do? It was gone. The traditional one that got away has been done so often, if I hadn't been there, I would never have believed it. We decided to pack it in, and even with the lost monster, we really couldn't complain. It had been a wonderful day. We had enough trout action to satisfy anyone, and I had the pleasure of spending a day on the stream with one of the finest gentlemen who ever wore a Super Bowl ring. I hope I'm lucky enough to have a lifetime of hunting and fishing thrills still to come, but no matter where I go, I'll carry the memory of the good times I shared with some of the finest sportsmen you'll ever meet in any season and on any field.
What a shot! Pitch fish there, man. Reach over there and pat him. You got that sail. Good shot, Adam. Got that one.
He's on.
He's up here. Oh, boy, nice size.
Oh, I never had a day like this.